He said, I cannot not go. I cannot live comfortably in Europe, in France, while knowing that people are suffering in the country that I love, which is Afghanistan. So I will never not be able to sacrifice even my freedom to give voice to the people who really need it. It was Wednesday, the 5th of January. I was going to Copenhagen and he was going to Afghanistan. And I remember crying, as I've always been crying, because he was leaving. But actually he was quite confident. He's really always confident that everything will be okay, everything will be positive. So I never imagined that this could have happened.
In any case, Afghanistan is also in the red zone, a very serious situation. In mid-August 2021, the fall of Kabul was simply a turning point. The Taliban were already in power once. But in those 20 years when they weren't in power, it has to be said that a very vibrant and diverse media landscape was able to develop in Afghanistan. It was still a dangerous job to work as a journalist in Afghanistan. The Taliban completely destroyed this really vibrant media landscape. More than half of the 550 media outlets still registered in 2021 have now disappeared. When I was in Kabul, there were also some issues where the Taliban did not want international reporters to cover them. For example, women's protests. There was a scene where all the journalists who went to a protest were arrested. The internationals were released shortly afterwards, but still, that's the way they operate. You can no longer work freely. It's also the case that these people, including those left behind by the international press, who we often work with as translators or fixers, are left behind, and that their lives and the lives of their families are at stake. At the same time, it has to be said that the international press cannot report completely freely either, because there is this control by the Taliban. I don't know what values stand for a free, open democracy if not freedom of the press and women's rights. I would absolutely say that this struggle is representative of a free Afghanistan.
My name is Alexandra Mustavai, and I'm the wife of the detained French and Afghan journalist Mortaza Behboudi. He was arrested on the 7th of January, just a couple of days after he arrived to Afghanistan. And I learned about it immediately because he was not answering my messages, he was not answering my calls, and usually we talk every day when he's away. So I knew something was wrong. And I messaged everyone that I could imagine would know, everyone in Afghanistan, people that we have in common. And they told me that, yes, he's arrested. And I really remember this day because it was in the morning and I didn't even take the curtains off. It was still completely dark, and the whole day I was just in this state of shock and darkness. I didn't even turn on the light, nothing. It was completely dark. I was in my bed crying and being worried, but also I was really furious. My dearest husband, I wish that it would be you talking right now to the camera, to the public, and speaking your truth, but sadly I have to do that instead and just say that I really, really love you so dearly, that you're so missed, and that all of the support, it just shows that you're really, really needed back home. In the beginning, there was almost no contact for 7 months. The only time I could hear his voice was 1 minute on the 26th of January. It was just 1 minute. He was saying, "Don't worry, I'm coming back home. but at the same time in his voice I could hear he was about to cry. And this also clearly shows Mortaza's personality. He would never want to make anyone worry. On the 6th of February, we chose to go public. Also to counteract the accusation of espionage, to say that he's not a spy, because people are clearly seeing him as a journalist. Clearly, he's just doing his job.
We went in Afghanistan together last year. We worked a long time together about what is happening in Afghanistan now that Taliban are back. I would say that it's wonderful, I think, for a journalist to work with another journalist like Mortaza is one of the best experiences in life. For me, it was really a very good experience. Mortaza is not only now a friend, but he is also for me one of the best journalists I've met in my job.
I would say he's the most selfless person I've ever met. Actually, maybe selfless to a fault. I would be begging him, I would be crying as well and asking him, yeah, maybe please don't go to Afghanistan, it's dangerous, you have the background of minority ethnicity, Hazara, which is also persecuted in Afghanistan.
So we knew that he had been going and coming and going and coming to Afghanistan again and again, many times, which is really exceptional because he suffered a lot in that country. And still, in order to report from it, he chose to go back again and again.
He's done nothing wrong and he should be released. This is a matter of press freedom, freedom of expression. This is a matter of one man who sacrificed a lot to showcase the true nature of the state of Afghanistan, to humanize the immigration journey, and now he's not supposed to be punished for this. In the middle of April, I was able to get a letter from him, from Red Cross, and then I received in total just 2 letters. And then in July, I got the first phone call. After all this time, in the end of July, and it was just 5 minutes. Half of the time I was crying, but also being so happy too. I was so shocked. And since then, I've been able to have phone calls with him regularly, but I've still felt so alone because I share this world with him. He's a really integral part of my world, and without him, I don't feel whole. So when I could hear his voice, it really moved everything, changed everything. He's not healthy, he's not fine, he's exhausted, he's tired, he's furious, he's every kind of feeling. Whenever he calls me, I don't know how he will be feeling at that time, but 9 months is a long time. And the prison in Afghanistan is one of the worst prisons in the world. And he was in maybe the worst prison in the world, which was the GDI prison, which meant that he was being tortured, which meant that he was not being able to eat properly, he was not able to sleep, he is still in a room with 30 other people, and he has to take pills, sleeping pills that can cause addiction, but because otherwise he would not be able to function without sleeping at all.
I think it's very important, each voice matters, and this way we can build pressure not just on the Afghan Taliban who are occupying Afghanistan right now, but also on the French government, because I think we need to remember that Mortaza is an Afghan journalist, but he's also a French Afghan journalist, and he was there working for French media.
I'm really overwhelmed by how much support everyone is showing. It's it's always so nice. I mean, there's not even space for everyone inside. I received some good news actually from the lawyers, Mortaza's lawyers. The news are that the judge has said that Mortaza is to be released and that the 9 months are enough, and that in a week and a half, something around that time, he'll be out of prison. So that's why a lot of people are smiling.
Je me suis senti kidnappé.
I was kidnapped without trial for 9 months. They tortured me every day and night. They interrogated and beat me all the time. Also, during the night. Only torture without asking any questions. My hands handcuffed, my feet cuffed, my eyes blindfolded. They didn't want to know who I was. They didn't want to know I was a journalist. A simple journalist, you know? I couldn't imagine staying alive because by the time they had me in the intelligence center for a month, they were actually ready to shoot. And all of a sudden, after 22 days, the agent said to me, he was very annoyed. He said, "Ah shit, we can't kill you because you're all over the media."
Il m'a dit, ah merde, on peut pas vous tuer parce que vous êtes partout dans les médias. En fait, c'est les médias qui m'ont sauvé.
It was the media that saved me. It's thanks to the media. It's thanks to the support committee. It's thanks to my wife Alexandra that I'm here, alive today, back in France. It's my fight to give a voice to those who don't have one.
C'est très difficile parce que j'ai des cauchemars.
It's about getting back to my daily life. It's very difficult because I have nightmares. I wake up in the night 2 or 3 times.
J'ai peur, quoi. Et
I'm scared. And one day I'm going to resume my daily life. Breathe, get some air, go to restaurants like before, walk in the park, talk, meet my close friends, be with my wife Alexandra, and actually later resume my job as a journalist. This is my fight.
Et en fait, plus tard, reprendre mon travail, le journalisme, c'est mon combat.